Hey, welcome to Estevan TV. I'm at pushgapradio.com.
Dallas, Fort Worth. Dallas, baby.
pushgapradio.com in Dallas and Fort Worth. Welcome back to another episode of Shakur 4-1 in the main event with Jackie O. What's the business?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's show.
That's what that is. Real quick, somebody at work was asking me about the format of the show. And I had to explain to them. That's why it's called the making of Push Gap Radios. We're making a podcast. All right. We're syndicated through KYBNradio.com in Mountain View, California. Big shout out to Dr. Aaron Ramsey and the gang out there.
Hey, Dr. Ramsey and the crew.
And yeah, you're watching us make a podcast, all right? We was the hottest thing in the game when we was just podcasting. We switched over less than a year ago over here to the YouTube channel. So that's why our format is like it is. Man, the thing
constantly evolving.
Constantly evolving, mine. The thing with Tupac is off the chain, no?
Yes, after almost 30 years. That has been a long time in the making. Now, I'm not into a whole lot of rap, but Tupac was my favorite. I loved me some Tupac music.
That's when hip-hop was hip-hop, baby.
Yes.
That's when hip-hop was hip-hop, my. Tupac's murder. 27 years after the rapper's murder, police made their first arrest in connection with the drive-by shooting of Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas. Authorities allege the suspect, Duane Keffe D. Davis, orchestrated the 1996 attack in retaliation for a fight. Tupac and them were at the Mike Tyson fight out there, if you recall.
Nearly 3 decades after the killing of Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas, news of an arrest. Tonight, the suspect now charged with murder. Here's Kayna Whitworth.
Tonight, a major break in the infamous murder case of Tupac Shakur.
This is the indictment we've been waiting almost 3 decades for.
After nearly 30 years, police arresting Duane Davis, known as Keffe D, charging him with murder. Authorities say it was Davis's own public comments that reinvigorated the case in 2018.
You said the shots came from the back. Who shot Tupac?
They keep it for the code of the streets. It just came from the backseat for him.
Tonight, authorities accusing him of being the shot caller who provided the gun and orchestrated the 1996 hit on Tupac in retaliation for this incident where Tupac and others beat up Davis's nephew. Just 2 months ago, police raided Davis's home. ABC News, the first to obtain the body camera video.
We obtained information during that execution of that search warrant that corroborated information obtained through our investigation.
Authorities said this was their last chance to solve this case, and now he's set to appear in court next week. David?
And it was something about gang-related. Orlando. What's the last? I can't think of the guy's last name. It was Keffe D's nephew. He got jumped by them. And that's how it all came down. And they finally made an arrest in connection with Tupac's murder here. And just totally sad. Again, great rap music was made back in our day. A lot of folk don't understand
His
that.
nephew's name was Orlando Baby Lane Anderson.
Yes.
He was killed two years after Tupac, and he was killed by the Las Vegas police. But the thing is that Keffe D had gotten, years ago, had gotten caught up with another charge.
Right.
And in order for him not to go to jail for a very long time for that charge, he talked to them about that night, and he admitted that he and his nephew were both in the back seat of the Cadillac that pulled up at the red light where the shots came from to kill Tupac. And he basically let them know that his nephew did it.
Yeah, because his nephew's dead.
Well, no, he wasn't dead at the time.
Yeah.
But
I'm talking about all the interviews.
Oh yeah.
And whatnot.
Yeah, well, yeah. The nephew got killed 2 years later after Tupac. So
just
Tupac
about
was
everybody
96 and he was 98
that was involved is dead. Police likely waited years before arresting Keffe D, who had openly discussed his involvement in Tupac Shakur's killing, so he could provide a compilation of confessions. So according to a retired detective.
Well, because he's sick.
He has cancer. On last Friday, Las Vegas police arrested and charged with murder Duane Keffe D. Davis, who 5 years ago revealed in a documentary interview he was riding in a white Cadillac where a backseat shooter opened fire on Tupac's BMW in Sin City in 1996. Davis and others in the Cadillac were reportedly members of the notorious L.A. gang, the Southside Compton Crips. Tupac was affiliated with the Bloods, a rival L.A. gang. And what they saying was that they just let him talk. He went on Vlad TV like most of them do. And, you know, with the internet and social media, now all these so-called gangsters, all they do is snitch on themselves.
Well, he also did a tell-all memoir back in 2019. So it wasn't a whole lot left to the imagination anyway. But I'm sure he saw it coming because they raided his wife's home back in July of this year. And they took a lot of things out of the home. Right. So I'm sure he saw it coming. But the twist to this whole story is his sister is one of my mother's sisters, my aunt's best friends. And so...
Whose sister? Keffe D?
Keffe D's sister, right, and my aunt are best friends, and so
because she lives in California.
Yes, she lives in California, and well, a lot of my aunts live in California, so they used to party with them. Back in the days, and I understand they used to have a really good time. But he's also allegedly is supposed to be possibly tied to Biggie's murder as well. Yes, so they're still investigating him for that. Because
they say Suge Knight told him that if you solve Tupac's murder, you'll solve Biggie's murder as well. Okay. Now, Keffe D said he had already agreed to help Tupac's East Coast rival, Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs has been brought into the mix, okay?
After the Lap raided the house of former gang member named Keffe D in relation to Tupac's fatal shooting, it seems like they got more evidence related to another tragic incident that took life of another rap legend, the notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls. And apparently, all traces now lead to the suspicion that these two crimes are closely connected and there's one person who stands behind them.
I don't even care if it's hard to believe, because the proof is there. Confesses.
With more details coming into play, the police have all reasons to suspect that Diddy is guilty in conniving with West Coast gangsters, and it was him who paid the gangs to get rid of Tupac and later Biggie. Investigators long suspected that Smalls was gunned down in an East Coast-West Coast rivalry between rappers. But apparently, after raiding the house of Keffe D and reigniting the investigation, we are finally going to witness the justice prevailing over lies, bribery, and conspiracies, as it's now believed that Diddy will be brought into questioning by the feds anytime soon. And it looks like the infamous hip-hop producer is not happy to see how the events unfold.
And I'm like, wow, this vibe that they got on me, like I'm Big Red or something.
Despite multiple people speaking on Diddy's involvement in both cases, no arrest has ever been made. As the FBI agent who worked on Biggie's case said, I understand it's bad enough that you've got a body. There's nothing worse than that, but the lengths that they went cover up that murder, I think will shock people. But it's all changing right in front of us, guys. And there's good reason to believe that newly found events will be enough to finally make the notorious music mogul pay for his crimes. On Tuesday, July 18, 2023, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department conducted a search in Henderson, the city just 16 miles southeast of Las Vegas. The investigation of Tupac's fatal shooting kicked back into life, and it brought us new, unexpected details about another unsolved crime.
2009. And so whether they use that original statement or just the new statements, it's all stuff that can be now brought into court.
Wallace's tragic and unexpected demise, coming less than a year after that of legendary rapper Tupac, sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community and sparked an outpouring of grief. And although the first suspect in this crime was Tupac's producer, Shakur Knight, and many people said that Diddy didn't have any motives to eliminate How's own artist, ex-officer Greg Kading doesn't believe in this theory.
Well, for Sean Combs, I mean, what are his choices, really? I mean, is he going to come out and confess to his association with the killer?
Moreover, Kading is confident that both incidents that took lives of Tupac and Biggie Smalls were related. He was working on finding the answer to the question who wanted unalive Biggie and discovered new information linking both cases. As the detective explained, Diddy hired the same gang to execute his own artist, and just to divert attention from his own persona, this time, he chose to be as close to the scene of crime as possible. Diddy sat in the passenger seat of a white Chevy Suburban with a driver and 3 bodyguards, while Biggie did the same in a green Suburban. However, as Kading said, Diddy intentionally took this risk and decided to be as close to the fatal shooting as possible because he was afraid that the truth about his involvement will come out.
But you also have to understand Combs' position at the time, this sense of fear and dread and desperation that he was facing.
Well, although the investigation is not even close to be over, many fans already celebrate the justice prevailing over cobweb of Diddy's lies. Apparently, the whole world has long suspected his involvement in both these crimes, and people can't contain their joy on social media. This one person commented, "It's about damn time down with the demon Diddy, who has destroyed so many lives with his presence down with the demon." And another user added, "All of this is known, but nobody has done a damned thing about it. Damned worst kept secret." The streets have been talking for a while, and since the police didn't have any evidence, apart from a couple of YouTube videos, they couldn't even bring Diddy for questioning. But you know the most shocking part of the whole story? It seems like he really orchestrated the entire thing with Biggie, and even Diddy's former bodyguard said that
the stories they tell is not truthful.
Deal, who worked as Diddy's security in the 1990s, insisted Biggie wasn't shot in a drive-by, as many were made to believe. He also added that he rushed to Biggie's aid after the shooting and pulled him from the vehicle, only to watch this kid lose his life. And in the most shocking part of the whole story is that his boss told him not to join the rappers that night. As the ex-bodyguard stated, "Before we left Andre Harrell's house, Puff told me I didn't have to go." But this is when the bodyguard realized. And here's another thing that proves that Diddy was interested in getting rid of Biggie after Tupac's shooting. You all know this story when in 1994, Pac accused Puff and Biggie of knowing about his ambush at New York's Quad Recording Studios. On November 30, 1994, upon his arrival at the studio, the rapper was robbed, beaten, and shot a reported 5 times by the assailants. As Tupac alleged after, not only Diddy and Biggie knew about this attack, but he also helped to organize shooting and beating. The music mogul openly accused the late rapper of lying, saying, "This story is a lie. It is beyond ridiculous and is completely false. Neither Biggie, Alice, nor I had any knowledge of any attack before, during, or after it happened." But apparently, Diddy did in fact orchestrate the whole thing, and he was simply afraid that Biggie would reveal the truth sooner or later.
Y'all don't know the business, y'all don't know what y'all are talking about. So it's going to be a teaching moment.
And if you know a thing or two about Diddy's teaching ways and how he usually deals with problems, nothing good was expected from this person. You probably realize that Biggie became some sort of a threat for the producer, especially since Wallace was devastated by Tupac's demise. And he apparently realized that this West Coast, East Coast beef went too far and turned out to be dangerous. As one insider claimed, the night Tupac was shot, I remember Big calling me and crying. I think it's fair to say he was probably afraid, given everything that was going on at that time and all the hype that was put on this so-called beef. Apparently, Biggie going emotional and showing his weakness was something Puffy couldn't tolerate because he couldn't afford his own artist to rat him out.
I'm going to fight for my reputation. I'm going to fight for the honorable man I am, the righteous king that I am.
Netizens cannot wait to see the results of the Lapped investigation. And judging by the newly found evidence and Keffe D's testimony, it's just a matter of time before the music mogul is charged not with 1, but 2 crimes he had committed in the past. As one person commented, "I hope they reopen the case put Diddy behind bars. He needs to go, period." And another user added, "Diddy is getting old and the powers that be is ready to set Puff up to fall. He did all he could do for those circles he is a part of. There's no need for him. Diddy on his way out and his fall is gone be a big one. Let's hope."
But Keffe D said he didn't go to Vegas with the intention of getting into trouble with Tupac. However, he added how Tupac had jumped his nephew. Now, They waited for him at this place called 662, I think it's the name of the club, but they never showed up. Because according to Keffe D, when they left to head back somewhere else, they stopped to get some liquor and they were going to chill out at their hotel. And they would have never seen Tupac had he not stood up in the sunroof of the car and was waving at his fans. That's how they found him. Had Tupac just been sitting in the car, like he said, we'd have never seen him. But it's like, according to him, this guy Zip who knew Puffy and things of that nature, said that Puffy had extended him allegedly $1 million. And Keffe D said they never saw any of the money, that it went to Zip. But most of the guys who were involved are already deleted. And only two people left who know what went down is Suge Knight and Keffe D.
Honestly, I thought it had something to do with that big fight that they had just had prior to that in the casino.
Yeah.
I figured it had to be somebody within that camp that saw them at the red light and did that. But I don't know. But I know I just...
Well, that was Orlando. Baby Lane.
The one that he had to fight with at the casino?
Yes, after the casino. Because Keffe D has a book out called Compton Street Legend. Notorious Keffe D's street-level accounts of Tupac and Biggie's murders, death row origins, Suge Knight, Puffy Combs, and crooked cops. And after they jumped, because presumably Baby Lane, Orlando, had snatched a death row chain from one of the guys. And that's how all this went down. Now, he's talking a whole lot in this book. And what really happened is... you wonder, why did it take them so long to get this guy? But what they saying was that the Las Vegas police was just building up evidence, because after he went on Vlad TV giving his interview, now he went on other interviews, and you got to keep embellishing and telling more in order to get the interviews, because some of these people pay you. You know what I'm saying? And so in order for them to keep bringing you on the show and to keep paying you, you got to tell something you didn't tell in the last damn interview.
Well, and I also remember a few years ago that it came out that some evidence had come up missing and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they were investigating it as strong as they should have during some of those years.
They were waiting for them to delete each other out.
Right.
Because Vegas figured it wasn't their problem, that it was a Southern California gang-related problem.
Right.
That's why they weren't so gung-ho in getting anything done.
Well, that and Las Vegas within itself have heavy gang activity. So they have their hands full with their own residents and gang activity. So, and then again, with it being so long ago, but then you know how it is when you get new innovative and hungry detectives. Yeah. And then because you know daggone well that the same detectives that started
the guy
27
Katie
years ago are not the same
the prosecutors
ones
and whatnot.
Yeah, everybody, all of the guards.
And they was just letting him hang himself.
Yeah.
Because when they called him in about that proffer deal, which is like they say queen for a day. It doesn't give you immunity. It's just that we're not going to charge you right now with whatever it is that you tell us. But when they pulled him back in asking him about the interview, he said, well, I just did it for the cameras. I was just doing it for the interview. You can only say that for so long, fam.
Right.
Then these people need to come see about you. Now, Keffe D himself has admitted in interviews and in his 2019 tell-all memoir, Compton Street Legend, that he provided the gun used in the drive-by shooting. And he's now 60 years old. They don't give a damn about none of that. And was arrested, like we said, early last Friday while on a walk near his home on the outskirts of Vegas, hours before prosecutors announced in court that a Nevada grand jury had indicted the self-described gangster on one count of murder with a deadly weapon. He's due in court this week. And the grand jury also voted to add a sentencing enhancement to the murder charge for gang activity that could add up to 20 additional years if he's convicted. And like you said, his nephew Orlando Brown was killed in 1998. And it's just all sad, but they trying to see what's going to happen with Diddy now.
Yeah, because his name is coming up a lot.
Yeah.
With this. But you know what, though? Diddy's name has been coming up a lot with a lot of shiesty stuff all along.
Yeah.
Diddy probably have a lot of
skeletons in his damn closet.
Well, not so much as skeletons in his closet, but as far as protection, that, you have to have police officers and some politicians and some other high-powered folk in his pocket, because he should have been in jail a long time ago if a lot of these things that are said about him is true. And the thing about it is, sometimes you have to be kind of skeptical about what you believe in the media because you could get a lot of misleading information. But when a name comes up that often and it's always negative, there's something to that.
Yeah. Now, Tupac died September 13th, 6 days later from his injuries. And after watching the ambulances carry the rapper and Suge Knight to the hospital, Davis's crew went back to the hotel and popped bottles and partied like it was any other night. He said wasn't no studio gangster gonna treat them like that. It's what Keffe D said about Tupac. And they said, it's just another day at the office. May sound cold-hearted, but from a street perspective, the killing of Tupac Shakur and rival rapper Biggie Smalls would be considered nothing more than collateral damage. However, Davis did admit he does have a deep sense of remorse for what happened to Tupac. So, yeah, they said...
I, for the life of me, cannot understand how somebody's words warrant getting killed. I mean, I know in their instance, they were actually physically fighting, but again, it all have to start from words. So what? It's like...
Sticks and stones may break my bones.
This is ridiculous. And that has gotten worse. Every week, you're looking around and you're seeing a story about a rapper being killed, more than likely by another rapper or somebody in another rapper's camp. And now they're progressing and they're killing mothers.
And babies and whatnot.
This is ridiculous.
Because that's not how gangsterism goes, okay? You need to follow the code of the mafia and whatnot. They came to get you. If they saw you with your kid, then, they left you alone. They weren't into families. But now these cowards today, they just come. They don't care who you're with, your grandmom or whatever. Now, what somebody was saying that I had checked out when I was doing my research was that it's like if you worked at a casino. Is why they let Keffe D go so long, that if you were worked in a casino and was stealing money, they're not going to just arrest you now. They're going to let you keep going so they can build evidence. And by the time they come to get you, fam, they got so much evidence against you, there's no way that you can, thwart that.
They give you enough rope to let you hang yourself.
Let you hang yourself. Tupac Shakur at the time was feuding with Biggie Smalls, who was fatally shot in March of 1997, about 6 months later. At the time, both rappers were in the middle of an East Coast-West Coast rivalry that primarily defined the hip-hop scene during the mid-90s. Now, Suge Knight did say, as I just stipulated, if you solve one murder, you'll solve them both. Now the killer of Notorious B.I.G. should be brought to justice as well.
Well, and a big part of the Biggie Tupac deal also was the alleged affair that Tupac had with Biggie's wife, Faith Evans, at the time. But and again, that was allegedly. We don't know if it was really true or not. But it's just sad. I, again, love me some Tupac music.
That's what that is. Prime time. Deion Sanders, boy. What's the ROI to Colorado with Deion?
PushGapRadio.com. We want to be your official Dallas internet station.